Welcome to this look at a mod that you may have overlooked on Farming Simulator 25 with me, MrSealyp. Ladies and gentlemen, this is kind of a test video, but also a guide to making you aware of information sharing type video. I think that's what it probably is. And we're looking at the lazy distribution by Let's Be Having Moo. Now, this was part of the 41 updates on Friday, and I got a direct message from Let's Be Having Moo yesterday saying I didn't know if you were going to have a look at it, whether you were going to do another video on it, but part of the update is very, very important for console gamers, I guess predominantly, but it could be potentially a game changer. So I thought, okay, I'll come back and have a look, and potentially it is. So we're in a testing phase because I need to do this in stages, so I thought I'd show you the stages as we go. Now, this pack was pretty cool anyway. It had some silos, it had some stuff in it, and it basically distributes things all over the place. What I took from it originally on the first version was, if we come down to animals, what was very cool about this was you had, for example, not horses, so for the sheep and goats, you could put over the spawn point for pallets, whether it's milk or wool. So if you're doing goat milk, if you're doing sheep, or if you're doing both, you could place any of these over the spawn points for the pallets, because these are things you can't normally distribute out to other places. This gave you the ability to distribute them out. And if we come across to our chickens, I think it did the same thing with eggs, and with bees it did with honey, which is pretty cool. There was some milk stuff as well. There's been a couple of mods that do this kind of thing, but this was the thing. But the update has done something else. If we come to silos, and this has got silos in it, which are pretty cool. So these three silos here, that one, the small, the medium and the large, these are lazy distribution silos, and these were part of the original mod, and these will allow you to distribute anything. So it's like a storage silo. You can put your stuff into it and store it, but you can also distribute that out to locations. If you're running production stuff, again, that's pretty cool. But what's been added in is this. Now that is important because we're going to need that for one of the animal types, but what's been added in is this. This is the lazy animal feed silo. So this feed silo takes grass, hay, straw, total mixed ration and pig food. You've still got to make it yourself. You put it into this silo, again, if you were going to store it, but you can set it to distribute. Now, that's all well and good, but animal pens don't generally, up until this point, they don't take stuff that's distributed. It doesn't work that way. But now it might do, potentially. And again, that's what we're looking at. If we come out of there and we go down or up, whichever way around, back to our animals again, we've now got these. Under cows, we've got this one, again, huge. This is this here, and it does say place anywhere. It does say use a trailer tanker to fill up, set production chain to distribute, turn the production on to distribute from a silo extension. It does also say in the description, lazy cow distribution now can be placed near a cow barn and will act as a silo extension, but you need to turn it on, run to distribute. So I've placed that here. Now what's interesting is when I place the animal pens, specifically my cows and my pigs, they're now not saying that there's a requirement for a manure heap. So I'm assuming that, so let's say this is part of the testing. So what should happen is, as my animals start to produce manure and slurry, that should go into this, which will then allow me to distribute it along with milk, buffalo milk and normal milk, should allow me to distribute that stuff out to other locations, potentially slurry manure to a biogas plant. That's huge. But that's not all. We've got this lazy cow feed distribution. So if we look inside the barn there, I've put it over where the feed and the straw normally goes, the bedding normally goes. Now, like I say, I don't know how effective this is going to be, how it's going to work. But what will happen is everything I've put into this silo, this is set to distributing. All of these say they need to be set to storing. So anything that's in this silo should distribute to the feed point for the cows. There's also one for pigs, which I've put in just there, over the pig one. Now, I'm not sure again with this, because I'm sure the pig straw normally goes over here. So I don't know, we'll give it a go, and that's the point. Sheep, we've already looked at that, but we've got this one here. So lazy sheep feed distribution. So I've put that one just here, where the feed would normally go in, grass and hay. What I haven't done yet is put the chicken one in. So the egg pallets will spawn here. Around this side is where the feed normally goes in. So if we go across to our chickens and come down, we've now got this one here, lazy chicken feeder distribution. So I'm going to turn that around there. Put that, I guess, just there. I suppose that would be enough, wouldn't it? Put that like that. So technically, barley and wheat isn't part of this silo here, but it can be distributed from this silo. So the first thing I'm going to do now is switch all of these things on to see that on the next hour at 11 o'clock, will all of the things from here distribute out to the feed points on all of my animal pens? If they do, that's massive. That's a game changer. You can produce all your things, put it into a silo. There are plenty of things to distribute. Now, again, it's cool. I'm not hiding anything, and nor is the modder. Let's be having move. It's called lazy distribution. We've got tons of distribution silos, and we've got warehouses, and we've got all sorts of stuff. It's not new, and it's not something that people are like, oh, it's outrageous. There are tons of them knocking around. But the fact this can do feed, and potentially this coming back the other way, if we click on this there, so buffalo milk, manure, milk and slurry. The manure and slurry, that's a big one. If it works like an extension, which one description says you need to put stuff into this, but the weird thing with this is it doesn't have a trigger for tipping into, so I'm assuming this is going to work like a silo extension. And again, if we go into our animal pens, if you look to the right hand side, where it says manure, it doesn't say requires manure heap, which it would do if there wasn't a manure heap nearby. If we go across to our pigsty, same thing, that doesn't say requires manure heap. So I guess what we've got to do, now all the animals, these ones in here say they've got to be left on storing, but I'm not sure if I've got to activate them. So potentially we might need to activate them. So we'll go to here. I've already filled this one up. This takes 250,000 litres of everything. So we've got grass. I'll turn these all on. That's interesting. Change output mode. Out of space. Distributing. Out of space. So on the hour, I assume they should. Well, like I say, that's what we're going to find out. I was going to say something really daft then. If this doesn't work, you'll never see this footage, but you'll never hear me say that anyway, so it won't make a difference. But do we need to turn that on? Just change the output mode on that to distributing. Now this is the same with any warehouse that distributes anything anywhere. The same thing still applies. The wheat and barley I've set to distributing on here, this silo, so that should go to the chickens. But bear in mind, if you've got anything else, any other production that requires wheat or barley or hay, like if you're running a total mixed ration factory machine, if you're running anything that requires straw, hay or grass, if you're running a grass dryer to make your hay, these potentially will distribute to those as well on the hour. So again, you know, and that's the same with any distribution system. It's the one weakness. I don't know if it's a weakness or not. What I am going to do, like I say, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to or not. These don't show a trigger for it. But if we come here, it says manage production. So we're on the lazy cow one. They're on storing. I just don't know if I'm supposed to turn them on or not. Materials missing. Yeah, so we haven't got anything on there. I assume they've got to be switched on. But again, we'll see. So at 11 o'clock, I'll see you in a minute. Well, in 15 minutes, but for you momentarily. I'll turn all of these on, and then we'll see what happens. Where's our managed production? Leave them on storing, and, well, yeah, fingers crossed. And then what we'll do is run them for a while and see if we get any slurry and manure into that, and potentially milk, and we'll go from there. That's the plan. Okay. I'm currently, while I'm doing this, I'm talking to Let's Be Having Moo on Discord as I'm doing this because I'm asking a couple of questions. I asked the question, do all of the place distributors, regardless of whether they need to be set to distributing or storing, do they need to be switched on, activated? He said as far as he knows, the only one that needed to be switched on is the milk slurry manure one. That's the only one that didn't work for him until he switched it on. But anyway, let's go over to this silo. Bottom right, you'll see some information. If we click on that, look, grass has gone out, hay has gone out, pig food's gone out, straw has gone completely, and bear in mind I'm running all of the animal pens, or not massive ones, but we're running, and total mixed ration are all set distributing, and stuff has gone. If we go down to, where is it? There, our barley, some of the barley's gone and some of the wheat has gone as well. So they did distribute out. And here's the cool thing. Let's come over to here. Look, we've got feed. Total mixed rations in, straw is in, and obviously because the straw's continually filling up, that's the straw thing is sat there, so you'll get pallets appear. When it's full, I guess the pallet will then sit there with total mixed ration as well. But this is incredible. This is nuts and amazing, and it works brilliantly. Straw and pig food, let's come over to here, double check. We've got straw and pig food in there, so that did work there. I always thought the straw had to be done over here, but that's showing it's got straw and pig food, that's in there already, so they're fed. Let's go and have a look at our sheep, and then we'll do our chickens, because our chickens I did last, but it's taken stuff out. So what we got here, top grade grass, top grade hay, and it's showing they've got feed in there. And then over here, no, you don't have to do both. Like I say, that's come down as chicken feed. I should have one barley and one wheat. There we go. You don't necessarily have to feed them both. They don't require both, so I could have just done wheat. I switched them both onto distributing. I didn't need to. The same with here. Your sheep and goats only require grass or hay. It doesn't matter which one you send there. I just switched them both on. But as you can see, we've got feed in all of them. Everything is in here. And then what I can do now is what was part of the previous mod before the update was when our eggs start to produce, I can put the little egg distributor here. So rather than come and pick up the pallets, I can have the eggs distribute out to wherever they need to go, or leave them. It's entirely up to you, whatever you want to do. So they're all storing, the animals are fed. So what I'm going to do now is speed up time, and we'll see if this works as a silo extension. I've got them all switched on. Yeah, I don't know. I'm assuming it will. Like I say, let's just double check the description, because it's because it's conflicting information. That's all that I'm concerned about. Lazy cow distribution can now be placed near a cow barn and will act as a silo extension, but you need to turn it on, run to distribute. So at the moment they are turned on, but I've set them on storing because I just want to see if as we produce stuff it will come into this silo. If I then want to set it on elsewhere, then I think I'm going to have to set them to distributing. But I want to see if we get anything into this first, if it does actually act like that. Then if we come to the animal pen bit and we go into build mode, and we come back across to our cows, there it says place anywhere, use a trailer tanker to fill up, set production chain to distribute, turn the production on to distribute from a silo extension. Do I still need a silo extension? Well, I'll see. That's the next test. The first test, absolute massive success. Works brilliantly. I mean, that silo, how much was that to place? That was under regular silos. I didn't even look at the price. I didn't mention the price. I should have done. 26,500 for that distributor. Yeah, however you want to say it. And that we can start at 117, 125, 147. Again, not massively expensive depending on the size you go for distributing out other stuff as well. But again, if you want the full immersion of doing all this yourself, then absolutely you don't have to use this mod at all. And if you've clicked on the description for this where it says, and it is lazy distribution, and you're annoyed about that, I can't control what you click on. That's all I can say. I say, if you don't believe in this sort of thing, you think it's wrong, that's absolutely fine, don't use it. But that is big. It is big. So I'm going to speed up time, see what happens with this. If I don't get any joy, I will message back to Let's Be Having Moo and see if I can rectify the situation. It's now 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm going to say this: even if you only use this it's an absolute winner. The other stuff, I mean, I say it's not periphery, it's not bells and whistles. All this stuff, you know, the fact the initial mods did what it did was brilliant. This edition, and again, easily overlooked. And that's why I get frustrated when Giants dropped 41 updates. You kind of scan through, you have a look, you might look at mods you've used before, or you might look at a couple of ones, go, okay, it's had an update. If you're interested in that particular mod, you might go and look at the changelog, but it's easily overlooked. The changelog on this is fairly small, but what it does is really big. Let's go over to here and have a look. I'm absolutely blown away by this. Look. Clonk. We've got manure. We've got milk. We've got slurry. So if I now set that to distributing and that to distributing, I'm going to make an assumption. Will it distribute on the next hour out to the biogas plant? But again, if you've got other productions that require manure or slurry, it might be for making, I don't know, whatever it might be. There are tons of mods out there that require them for making mineral feed. It might be making liquid fertilizer, standard fertilizer. There's all sorts of things that require these. If that's now set to distributing, that should then distribute out to somewhere else. And again, this might be, you know, if you're overwhelmed with what you're running, you might be running so much stuff. And I find when I do a Let's Play, you get to a point where each day starts and you've got, like any farm, you've got your daily chores, you've got the jobs to do. And it always used to be, on previous versions of the game, you had to come and clean out the feed area, so you had to muck out the animals, then you might have to move pallets around, you might have to take your milk, you might, you know, whatever it might be. If you're finding that overwhelming, and you want to run these things but you haven't got the time, like say if you're only playing for an hour a day or whatever it might be, this might help you solve that problem. So what I'm going to do now is we'll go to the next hour, 3 o'clock, and see if those have gone out to the biogas plant. If they have, I'm sticking by what I'm saying. This is a game changer. It is incredibly cool. Right, next hour, let's see what happens. It's just gone 3 o'clock and it did exactly what it was supposed to do, but also I can highlight what I was talking about. So we come onto here, we can now see we've only got 1,000 litres of manure, 1,127 of slurry, so it's distributed some out. If we go up to our biogas plant at the top, you'll see there's only 6 litres and 5 litres. It has distributed, and you think, well, that's not right. Why has it only done that? This is my frustration with distribution and the distribution system. I personally think if you've got, for example, a biogas plant or something else that requires manure and slurry, I think it should split it evenly. I don't know why it doesn't, and sometimes some productions receive far more than others, some take a priority over others. I'm not quite sure why. It will be an XML file thing. It may be something glaring in the office, but this highlights my point because on my test map, my mod map, I have this. The distributor takes manure and slurry and allows you to distribute that out elsewhere as well, but you have to fill that up. That's not an auto-filling thing. That's the big difference with this. This acts like a silo extension next to your cows, and bear in mind this is taken from the pigs as well. It's doing both and it's placed here, so it's taking from here and here, and this is acting as a silo extension. Now the capacity is not huge on this. As you can see, it's 150,000 litres of each, but to be fair, if you've then set that to distribute out every hour, it's never going to particularly fill up hugely, but it does prove my point. It is working. It distributed out from here out to the biogas plant. It also distributed out to my distributor out there, which takes slurry and manure as well. Now I didn't set the milk to distributing. We could set the milk to selling if you wanted to sell directly, or if you're running a dairy and you want it to go there, you can distribute it out from there. I don't know. Like I say, I'm so pleased that Let's Be Having Me messaged me, because I had missed it. I genuinely had missed it, and I don't want other people to miss it because it's very, very cool. And it works really well. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. So there we go. That's the lazy distribution update. Do not miss it. It's very cool. I hope you found this useful, informative in some way, shape or form. If you have, please give us a like. If you don't subscribe yet, please do. If you want to leave a comment, feel free. And if you want to share this video, then of course, please be my guest. Whatever you should choose to do, enjoy the rest of your weekend. If it's a bank holiday where you are, enjoy the rest of your bank holiday weekend. And thanks for watching.